Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and I was back on the road this week. So we're going to hit you with another episode of the Road Report. But before we do, I want to invite you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com. Sadly, our $1 for 1 year deal has come to an end, but you can still take advantage of our 7-day free trial offer. If you like what you see, stick around and become a full-time member. If you're already a member, recommend us to a friend, or better yet, gift us this holiday season. Buy a subscription for a friend. I mean, what better gift than a subscription to the Wolverine? All right, guys, let's dive into this week's episode. Like I said, I was back on the road. I was in the DMV, had a chance to see Powerhouse Good Counsel on Friday night, and then Archbishop Carroll on Saturday. We're going to work backwards. We're going to start with my Saturday game because I know you guys want to know about five-star Carroll athlete Nyckoles Harbor. We will talk about his official visit and all that good stuff when it comes to his recruitment, but let's go ahead and start off with him as a player. I saw him earlier this season, and I still have the same opinion after seeing him for the second time this season. Look, I still think Harbor's biggest upside is as a pass rusher, as an edge guy. If he were to dedicate himself to being an edge guy, I think he would be a potential number one overall NFL draft pick, especially at a place like Michigan, where Ben Herbert is a great strength and conditioning coach and knows how to shape up bodies, and Mike Elston, who's a great developer of talent, and then just Michigan itself. I mean, obviously you had two premier edge rushers go in the draft last cycle, including Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, and David Ajabo. So again, I mean, you look at Harbor's skill set. I mean, he's 6'5", 225 pounds right now. He runs a 10.22 100 meter. I mean, that is absolutely insane. There's no other athlete that I've covered in my decade-long career of doing this that's similar to Harbor. That speed off the edge is absolutely insane. And you think if he adds another 20 pounds with some more power, with some more strength, I mean, he would be downright unstoppable. And he also plays pretty physical against the run, so I would have no real concern there either. The problem is Harbor is obviously one of the best sprinters in the country, and he does not want to do football full-time. He wants to play both sports at the next level. So he wants to run track and he wants to play football. Because he wants to run track, that means he can't add much weight to his frame, right? So he has to stay down right about where he's at, 225, 230, maybe 235. Maybe he adds a little more weight during the football season and cuts it for track, but he's never going to be a full-time guy that's fully focused on perfecting his craft as an edge guy, which means you're going to have to move him all over the field. Right now, his preference is to play offense to preserve his body for track. So when you look at him as a pass catcher, whether it's at wide receiver, inline tight end, or as a flex end, he still has a little ways to go. I mean, he's not really a technical route runner. He's not a true natural pass catcher. He has the athletic ability to be a guy like Kyle Pitts, who was a game-changing tight end coming into the draft a couple of years ago, but he's a guy that's going to need a lot of work in those areas. You could also just use him everywhere. You could use him as a tight end. You could use him as a wide receiver, and you could use him as a pass rusher on third downs. But again, he's not going to be a guy that's always going to be dedicated to football year round. He's going to be doing a lot of track work because his goal is to run in the Olympics. That's not a knock on Harbor, looking at it through a selfish lens. I would love for Harbor to focus on football just because I can see the potential of what he can become. But he has aspirations, that extend beyond the football field, and that's great. And I think Michigan is a great place to work with him on that, which brings us to his recruitment. Look, Jim Harbaugh has a great resume, as well as just the University of Michigan in general, even before Harbaugh's arrival, of allowing guys to excel in multiple sports and on both sides of the football. I mean, you've had greats that have played on both sides of the football, including Charles Woodson. You've had guys that have done two sports under Harbaugh and, again, before Harbaugh, including one of his staffers, Denard Robinson, who spent time running track and playing football and had some extended time talking to Harbaugh on his recent official visit. So it's definitely, a really good option when you look at the amount of guys that have played two sports and the amount of guys that have played on both sides of the football. So I think that's definitely appealing to Harbaugh. So let's go ahead and rewind to his official visit. He took in the game against Maryland. And I think two aspects were really important for Harbaugh here. Getting a look at Michigan's track program, which, obviously isn't climate friendly. He's considering some of the southern schools where it's warm a good amount of the year, whereas Michigan has to deal with weather. But Michigan's track facilities have recently been upgraded. I know that was a big selling point. I know he's been connecting with the track staff as well. He has a couple of track connections to the program. His good friend Zaya Holman is a track star for the women's program, and then his club coach Pamela Crockett is a University of Michigan grad. So that definitely helped. And the other thing I think really assists Michigan, whereas, track is something they're going to have to overcome. Something that's a huge plus for Michigan is the academic piece. And we talk about academics all the time when it comes to recruits, and it's not always, the big factor that some make it out to be. But I think it is with Harbaugh. When you look at his parents, his mother's a pharmacist. His father works for NASA, and Harbaugh himself is a 4.0 GPA student that wants to be a surgeon one day. Then, academics are going to play a big role. I think Michigan is a truly elite school. Look, like Brian Kelly at LSU, he can sell academic shift all he wants. Georgia's a good school, especially considering, the bad rap SEC schools get. Miami's another player in his recruitment. They are a good school, but Michigan is an elite school, and I think that can be a difference maker. That's something Michigan is going to have to continue to sell in this recruitment. I think that right now the major players when it comes to Harbaugh's recruitment are Michigan, Georgia, Miami, and Georgia and Miami don't get talked about a lot. I think those are two schools that you're going to hear a lot more about as the process continues. South Carolina obviously has been trending a little bit and hosted him for an official visit. Maryland's the home state or the home area school. So I think those are the schools that are really, really high up there. And then you can't forget about USC. They had a lot of momentum in the offseason. Things kind of faded out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're really in the mix late in the process. And that's the thing with Harbaugh and his recruitment. Look, this recruitment is going to go on for a while. It was great that Michigan got him in for an OV. I think they filled in some pieces to the puzzle, but the puzzle is far from complete. I think Michigan's going to have to get him back on campus for a UV closer to his decision. Now, when is his decision coming? It could be around the early signing period. It could go all the way to February. Harbaugh hasn't really decided on that yet. He's not an early enrollee, so he does not have to take advantage of the December signing period. Right now, Harbaugh has taken 2 OVs, one to Michigan and one to South Carolina. That means he has 3 remaining. His plan is to take all 3 of those remaining OVs. Can he squeeze them all into December before the dead period? We'll see. Like I said, he might take some in January if he elects to wait until the late signing period. It'll be interesting to see which schools get those final 3 OVs. Like I said, I could see LSU. LSU is actually supposed to get him on campus this coming weekend, but he has a game, so he had to reschedule, and he hasn't firmly locked in a date, but it will come sometime in the winter. I could definitely see Georgia getting him on campus. I could definitely see Miami getting him on campus. USC could emerge. Like I just said, I'm not sure if he uses an OV on Maryland. I know he's talked about it in the past, but with these other schools really turning up the heat and Maryland being so close, I could see him just simply taking a longer unofficial visit there. But like I said, still a long way to go. Michigan still has to keep overcoming the track aspect, and they have to keep pitching academics, and some of the things that I just said, like allowing guys to play two sports, allowing guys to play on both sides of the football. I know he has a great relationship with head coach Jim Harbaugh. He has a great relationship with primary recruiter Ron Bellamy, and his parents love the program. His mother has a ton of family in the Detroit metro area, so we'll see how it shakes out. I think Michigan is at the very top of the list, but still a ways to go, so we'll see. Let's quickly touch on some of the other guys I had a chance to see in the DMV. So on Friday night, I took in Good Counsel's big victory over LCA. Now, Good Counsel is one of the premier programs nationally and one of the best programs in the DMV. Good Counsel is the home school of Michigan defensive lineman Chris Jenkins, so a little bit of inroads built there at Good Counsel. They are home to two Michigan targets in the 2024 class, one being top 100 linebacker Aaron Childs. Now, I absolutely love what Aaron Childs brings to the table. He is a kid that's 6'3", 220 pounds. He can play a traditional linebacker role. He's extremely comfortable playing in space, covering backs and tight ends. He can come off the edge. He is the closest thing I've seen to Junior Colson since Junior Colson. So I think he would be a perfect fit in Michigan's scheme, which asks the linebackers to do a lot. And you need a superior athlete at the linebacker spot. You don't really have one in the 2023 class. You have a big thumper in Samaj Bridgman, and he is the only commit. So you want kind of that explosive athlete. You need to land a high-level linebacker in 2024 if you're Michigan. Childs is that guy. I can't think of a better scheme fit linebacker in 24 than Aaron Childs. Now, he told me that he does have high interest in Michigan. He's let recruiting take a back seat for now. He's made no visits this fall so far, which is interesting. But he told me he wants to get out to Michigan for a game for sure. He's planning to go out to Penn State on October 22nd for their whiteout game. He's also looking to make trips to South Carolina and Notre Dame. But he definitely likes Michigan early on. He looks up to Chris Jenkins and actually has been in contact with him about Michigan. So I think the Wolverines are high on his mind early. The other prospect at Good Counsel is 3-star interior offensive lineman Kyle Altoona, who visited Michigan this summer. Now, I know Altoona is rated as a 3-star, but I actually have him graded out as a low 4. He's a guy that's not doesn't have the measurables you ideally desire from a guy that you are grading as more of an NFL prospect, which is what recruiting services do a lot of time. They look at NFL potential. Altoona is a pure interior offensive lineman at 6'3", 210. So he has shorter arms. He's not super athletic. And so I think that limits his ranking ceiling. But I really like him, man. He's a road grader. He's extremely tough. He's physical. He finishes blocks. He played out of position at left tackle and was still extremely dominant at the position. He fits what Michigan looks for in its offensive line. I think he would be, again, a great fit as an interior offensive lineman, as a guard, center, that just goes in there and mauls people. I mean, he has that look of a Michigan offensive lineman. He actually reminded me a little bit of Reese Atterbury, who I scouted and hasn't made a huge impact at Michigan, but is a guy that could really emerge next year. But I really like Altoona. I think he is, again, a little underrated because you're looking at NFL projection, but I think he's going to be a very, very good college football player. Like I said, he visited Michigan in the summer, looking to get back for a game in the fall. I think Michigan is in that top group along with Penn State and Notre Dame early on. All right, guys, appreciate your time. As always, subscribe to thewolverine.com, and we'll be back next week with another Road Report.